This is 5 Live Boxing.
There was uncertainty, and then there was certainty. Anthony Joshua will step back inside the boxing ring on July 25th in Jeddah. The return of AJ, the Olympic champion, the two-time world heavyweight champion, and one of the most popular sportsmen in the world. He's back. I'm Steve Bunce, and this is 5 Live Boxing. We've had locations in the past, we've had fantastic settings in the past, but this meeting today, this press conference today, wasn't about location, it wasn't about settings, it was about the return of Anthony Joshua, putting himself back in the spotlight. And I'm with Darren Barker, former world champion. Darren, it was just great to not only see him back, but to see him in such terrific form.
Yeah, switched on, focus.
Yeah,
he
switched on, focus.
Had the bit between his teeth, and I love his motivation for why he's doing this. Obviously, the loss of his friends, that really inspires him to push on and finish the job that they had set out to do with one another. But the motivation is winning. He still gets a buzz of getting his arm raised at the end, and that's why we all started out doing this sport. You know, that feeling of winning when you're a young kid. I know we started a little bit later. You want the schoolboy time. But when you're just a young boy and you've outboxed and you've beaten another boy your age and weight, that feeling, he's fighting for that feeling.
I mean, we're going to hear from AJ in a moment, and I sat down with him today for about 10 minutes, and there was, I know it sounds like a cliche, but there was almost like the fire in his belly, something deep in his eyes. And I know that what happened in December when he lost his two really close friends, we know all of that. He's come back from that. I mean, I'm sensing almost, I don't want to get over the top here, almost like a new AJ. He sounds as good as I've ever heard.
I tell you what, there's no BS, is there?
No,
this is real.
Bing.
This is real rooted desire and motivation to go out there and win and fulfil even more dreams, which, Steve, let's be honest, is remarkable. With what the man has achieved already, financially, with achievements as a pro and an amateur, is phenomenal. What you could only dream of, your wildest dreams, but he's still hungry for more. He's not doing it for any other reason.
And Eddie Hearn's been saying that the last 3 or 4 months. I know how close you are to Eddie, so Eddie's probably told you more, but Eddie's been sort of saying, I've just been to see AJ. He's really got the been to see AJ. He's really got the fire.
I'll tell you, just to jump in there, and we know Eddie, right? And I'll tell you one thing with Eddie, when you're away from camera and it's just you and him, he's a very, very, very honest man. He will tell you if he's worried or this or that. Like, he honestly, he's very, you know this, he's very honest. When you hear him talk about AJ in preparation in camp, you know he's doing really, really well, because he wouldn't say it otherwise. He would say complete opposite. He would just have
seen him and he's happy.
Yeah, so knowing that Eddie's buzzing, you know AJ's on form.
Anyway, as I mentioned, I did sit down with AJ somewhere in Shepherd's Bush. In fact, it's an old tram shed. It was abandoned for about 20 years. It was a bit of derelict land between Shepherd's Bush and the TV centre. So I sat down with AJ, and, well, I think you'll find just how refreshing he was. And you know what? He dealt with everything thrown at him.
AJ, it's good to see you looking so good, looking so positive. It's been a rough few months for you. Very hard times that you seem to have magnificently overcome.
Well, you never overcome, but you have good perspective in life. Life is humbling at times. You never know one's fate. But as a soldier, I stand strong for their parents. First and foremost, this ain't about me. I feel it's important to put their parents first at the minute. I have my time to grieve, I have my time, but I know that at the minute my heart and my mind says their parents are my main priority.
And Eddie's talked about over the last couple of months, especially seeing you working around Usyk, just that he thinks that you've got a hunger back that's maybe been missing, that you've got just a positivity surrounding you.
Do you know what it is? I've been in these situations where I'm always positive, Steve.
I know that.
I'm always positive, so. But what it was more about life choices. I think I might have one of these active minds, like I'm at night and then I can think of, I want to open up a car garage.
At 3 o'clock? What do you want to do at 5 o'clock?
Exactly. Let's open up a car garage. And from opening up a car garage, we've got 10 car washes. And then from 10 car washes, we're selling fairy liquid around. You know, it's just, my mind just non-stop. And what I've done now, I've just scaled my energy back to just focusing pure on boxing. So all that energy I was putting out there into creating an empire, I am now fully focused on just my sport, keeping things simple and keeping my mind focused on the punches coming at me and the punches I need to throw back.
And that time, well, the time you're spending with Usyk, Eddie also let slip. I mean, it's public knowledge now that you're living in a room like your old GB days, with a tiny bed, just old school.
Yeah, so I've ordered a super king size bed now.
At last.
I have ordered one at last. I have actually ordered one, but it was perfect. Do you know what it was, Steve? It was actually comfortable. It wasn't. I wasn't sleeping on.
Yeah, the floor. Let's not get carried away.
It was good. It was good. It was perfect. But you know what it is? If it ain't broken, don't fix it. But I just thought to myself, when he said it, I thought, it is time to change it. So I've ordered a super king size bed. I'm going out to training tomorrow, and my king size bed will be there, and I'll be sleeping hopefully like a baby.
And do you feel that bit of hunger as we're coming towards Christian Prenga? Can you feel something different in your system?
You know what it is? It's hunger, but for me, it's focus. It's focus. It's aligning. Look at it this way, yeah? There's a frequency of boxing that's always out there. And some people align to that frequency. But what tends to happen is my frequency could align to a car wash as well. Could align to life. You need to block everything out and get on the same frequency as boxing in order to be a champion.
And has that working and training alongside Usyk and the rest of that team in a fighter's gym?
Aligning my frequency took me to Usyk. It wasn't no going there that got me to that. It was way before that. After the Dubois fight, the Dubois fight didn't rattle me mentally or shake me. It was just the fact that I realized that there was a lot happening in my life and my thoughts and the way I was thinking was too scattered. I just need to just put some blinkers on and focus. And that took a lot of time, When you have been trailblazing the heavyweight division and going through life for so many years.
Carrying the heavyweight division.
Yeah, I just needed to take a step, well, not take a step back, but that, hitting that brick wall that night, just said to myself, I need to just really take a hard look at myself and figure out what I really want to do. And it was boxing, so everything else had to stop.
And once you found that mindset in the last 2 or 3 months, did you know you were going to fight again? Was it an instant thing?
Yeah, 100%. But it's fighting with focus again. It's not just fighting. Yeah, it's understanding like the punch is coming. It's just seeing it. You've got that. Honestly,
is that the Usyk influence?
It has to be Anthony Joshua influence. It's respectfully, Usyk is really good, but what I'm trying to say, when you listen to a man speak, you understand their mind, yeah? It all has to start with me. It can't be for my mum. It can't be for anyone. It has to be for you. And it's all me. I'm being selfish.
And had you found that mindset before what happened in December in Lagos?
Do you know what? It hurts me to say because me and Cena, that was my co-D. We worked really well together. It's a shame, but we worked together to bring myself to the point of where we are today.
So the door was open already?
The door was open, but like the doors of carrying heavyweight boxing are very, very, from what we expect of ourselves, these are big doors to walk through. And we have big plans together, man, big plans.
So it seems like a ridiculous question, but are you enjoying it more now than you have done in the past, or are you enjoying it more now than ever, looking forward to it more?
The only times you enjoy it is when you're, like, for me, like being at the fight in Egypt was an enjoy, is like the fruits of your labor, you get treated well, you're on the outside, you're not dealing with the pressure that those warriors are going through. My time will come though. My time's here now. This is the pressure. So it's not about enjoying it, but it's just understanding that this is my time.
Well, Prenga first, with all those stoppages, he might be a bit raw around the edges, but you still have to get rid of 20 men. It still takes some doing.
100%. If you put them same 20 men in front of me, I'm trying to do exactly the same thing as him. He's got the right mentality.
And then at some point before the end of the year, Tyson Fury in that fight that I know you've been pushing for a long time, and certainly last December before it all happened, it was set in stone then, or was nearly set in stone then.
Yeah, so we're here. There's a 2-fight deal that's been put in place. It's great to be involved in a big promotion like this coming up July 25th. And then the fight with Tyson Fury, it's a big carrot that they dangled in front of me. And it's not hard to not see it, but it's just the reality of my life. I've got a 2-fight deal and I need to be victorious every time I step in that ring.
But you seem to me like you're not planning on going away. There's no sort of talk about possibly end of this year or the end of that year. It just seems to me like you've got a new focus, a new life force pulsing through.
How do you mean when you say going away?
No, you just like you don't seem to me like you're talking like a man that's been there and done what you've done. You're talking to me like you're 21, 22 years of age.
Because old data can't predict the future. You can't predict the future for old data. It's where we're at today. What have we got now in front of us, and what's our objective? Our objective is to get in that ring, to understand and read punches, to do more sparring, to run further than I've ever run. I can't do the same thing I was doing in the past and expect new results. So today it has to be built on new data, and I can't go off of. Yeah, it's fresh. It's just fresh for me. Starting again.
Smarter, wiser Anthony Joshua.
Yeah, definitely. I know a lot about the game.
Life.
And yeah, life, definitely. And I think we're all going to grow up and learn about life, but I've learned a lot. Boxing's been my biggest blessing, I think. Even though it's been tough, it's been my biggest blessing because it's shown me how strong you have to be in and out the ring. It's shown me a lot.
So that was AJ there talking, as you mentioned, Darren, talking about winning, talking about doing stuff. And he seemed a bit surprised when I said that, really, AJ, if what happened in December with the fatal crash hadn't happened, I might have thought this was your last year. He seemed a bit shocked that I thought it was, because it looks to me like he fancies a good few years.
Absolutely. He has every right to be content in what he's achieved, but there's something else now. He's fighting for something else. And that makes
he's fighting for them, isn't he?
Without
being too
like
dramatic.
I said before, he's got that motivation of winning again, that desire to keep doing what got him into the sport in the first place. But now he's doing it for 2 other people. And someone who's done that themselves, when I lost my brother, and you're fighting in memory and in honour of someone, I tell you, it gives you a percentage that you didn't know you had.
You know what, Darren? I'm sorry, mate. I didn't even mean to do. No. I'm saying.
I can understand and I can relate in some small way.
That drive.
They had a plan, a path set out. The 3 of them, and then the
Sinagami and Latif Ayodele, the guys that died in the crash.
He wants to fulfil that dream, that goal that they set out, and that makes him, I tell you, a tough man to beat. Taking himself away, showing how dedicated to the sport he is, training with Usyk and the rest of the team, just shows you
basic existence, nothing fancy.
Hunger is still there. It's no rubbish.
And you can understand that drive where you're fighting. I know it sounds like a bit over the top, but you're fighting for 2 people. Or in his case, fighting for 2 others. You were fighting for your brother Gary. I mean, which you've openly talked about. Again, I'm sorry about that. I would never.
Don't be stupid, Steve. It's just because when I hear him talking, I can, in some little way, I can relate to it, and it brings it back, that feeling I had of kind of, in some ways, being unstoppable, having almost a superpower.
Well, it is like a superpower, and I tell you what, that might be a good description, because when I'm listening to AJ today, that's a bit what it felt like. And we mentioned Eddie Hearn there. I sat down with Eddie, and I also asked him, was it a relief? Was it a relief to see AJ back in the spotlight like this?
I don't know. Relief is. I feel pretty proud today. Everybody knows how fond I am of Anthony, but I do feel like a little bit of a kind of proud. Say, Dad, I'm not that old, but he's been through an awful lot, and I think 3-4 months ago, I couldn't have really sat there with great confidence and told you we'd definitely see him in the ring again. The injuries, of course, were
a factor.
Career threatening, really. That's the reality. But mentally and emotionally, what he's had to go through, I think it's remarkable that he's bounced back and got himself in this position. And he's not really one to talk about that, his own achievements in that respect. But I think we should. And I think, this fight is called the comeback, which is strange because he only fought 6 months ago. Yeah. But this is the greatest comeback. This is the comeback from the darkest moment. And I'm very proud of him. And I think he's an extraordinary character. He's an extraordinary man. He's someone that I take a lot of inspiration from, and also strength from, in terms of how he approaches his job and the effort and drive that he has, because it is unbelievable. And I don't know, I say an argument with Carl Froch, but he's like, why is he still doing it? What? I said, because he loves it, mate. I said, he's training harder now than he did when he was skint, when he had no belts. He wants it more now than he's ever wanted it. And that is the sign of a true competitor.
When he switched and started working with Usyk, was that when he flipped the switch? That was instead of him just being barefoot in the gym in Dubai.
You're talking like
suddenly
August
looked
or
real.
so last year. I was with him, and he said, "I'm going to have 2 weeks to train with Usyk. Have a look,
So this is last summer.
And he never came back. So really, pretty much, other than the couple of months of rehab that he had from his injuries in January and February, he's pretty much been in that training camp.
So
in
just
Valencia.
went straight back.
Yeah, and this is like Bunsey. He went with one suitcase to Valencia, and this is what people don't really see or understand, that the sacrifice and the commitment. Like when he's in that camp, when he's in that training camp, it ain't fun. It's not full of like loads of his mates. It's not. They don't party at the weekend. They train 3 times a day. And when I say train, that training camp is like nothing I've ever seen before, in terms of the work that they put in. And they're really, they're flogging him like a dog in that camp.
And he's responded.
Yeah.
Perfectly.
Because that's the status of the man. And I always said, after the crash, the one thing, and this goes for all fighters when they're in dark times, the one thing that will always improve the mind of a fighter mentally is being in training camp. The moment they're out of training
in your
camp,
home,
the moment they lose that structure, he always talks about it, that regimental lifestyle, is the moment that the mind starts wandering. You start thinking about things, you question things. And given what he went through, but unfortunately, because of his injuries, he wasn't able to get in training camp for 2 or 3 months. And now he's in there, he's in a good place.
So, Eddie, there's only a few days that happened where we can talk about this, but when he finishes the fight with Jake Paul, I was with you that night, quite late at night, outdoors when we did that press conference. The AJ that night, were you planning the fight with Rico Verhoeven?
Yes,
so
that was done.
And was it? Did he have that same hunger then in the aftermath of the Jake Paul?
He really enjoyed the Jake Paul fight. Don't forget, he'd been out of the ring for 14 months.
Yeah.
Right? Coming off a really tough defeat against Dubois. The Jake Paul fight was just like, it was obviously a straightforward job. It was a lot of money. It was a big platform. It was fighting in America again. The whole thing was just fun for him. And it also gave him a chance just to have a fight, to have a kind of fight under the Usyk team and camp. And he finished that fight. And I left him in Miami in a brilliant place. Like, he was so happy. He was so excited about 2026. He was going to fight Rico in March.
Yeah.
And then he was going to fight Tyson Fury in August.
Yeah.
Literally had to go through a few bits with Turkey and the team.
But it was near enough
and it was done. And then, obviously, the world came crashing down. And it was such a huge blow, not just because we all lost, but he lost 2 of his very closest friends. But it was like, finally, we're in such a good place, and the whole team, the structure, everything, and then this happens. And it's like, and that's why it's even harder for him to take and to fathom, because everything was so good. Do you know what I mean? He felt like, oh my God, we are all going to go in, Cena, Lats, the whole team. We're going to go into 2026. This is going to be massive. We're going to beat Rico. We're going to beat Fury. And then, but that's what life does to you. It came crashing down. And, like I said, his strength during that period, unbelievable. Unbelievable. I mean, even still today.
Yeah.
But that period from the accident, that probably 3-month period of taking care of the families, bringing those guys home, like going out, clean, taking that stuff out of the house, just communicating with the families, like his strength's incredible.
And he was on the front foot with that, to use a boxing
completely.
metaphor. He
And
was right on
that
it.
is really like
Didn't turn away, didn't shy
his
away.
focus really is obviously his boxing, but also to fight in the memory of those guys and to support their families for the rest of his time on. That is absolutely priority to him.
Yeah.
And as a man, he stepped up to the plate after that. Rather than, I need my time, rather than I need to grieve, I need to recover, he actually, like you said, he went on the front foot and he said, I want to set this up, I want to do this, we need to do this, we've got to do this. But he did that in conjunction with his rehab and his boxing. I went out to see him in Dubai after the accident, maybe 4, 5, 6 weeks after. He was on the bike every day. You know, he was training on stuff that he could train with.
Yeah. Stuff he could
mobility,
use,
reactions, like little, really menial, boring stuff. And he never took his eye off the ball once, whilst also dealing with the grief, whilst also dealing with the families. Like, you know, he really stepped up to the plate.
And this AJ, I know you had some time with him in Cairo, you did some filming with him. This AJ seems about as focused as any AJ I've seen. I spoke to him briefly on the plane, I spoke to him briefly here today. He seems, I hate it's odd to use the word, he seems unbelievably relaxed.
I said I get a bit of stick because I always say I've never seen him like this before. But
so what? If
I've never really seen him so happy, confident, and I've never heard him talk about the future in his boxing.
This is a crucial line.
Because he normally says, I've got July 25th, and that, but now he's saying I've got July 25th, then I've got Fury, then I want to be world champion again, and I want to try and be undisputed. This is like, we were saying 2026 was going to be his last year in the sport. He's talking about another 2 or 3 years. Now, listen, the Fury fight is the biggest fight in boxing, but we have to get through this guy on the 25th.
Yeah.
And the problem
With
is
his
when,
knockout record.
yeah, but when these people, look, Prenga is a good, solid heavyweight. We can't say, is he elite world class, because he's never been at that level.
But we're not saying that.
We would have said that Rico's not.
Absolutely.
Right? And he nearly beat Alexander Usyk.
Yeah.
So, but what this guy has, interestingly, is also European kickboxing champion previously, which I didn't like once I found out.
I didn't realise that.
Yeah, but what he has got, he's got 20 fights, and he's got 20 wins, 20 knockouts.
Yeah.
Right. So, this is not a kickboxer that's turning pro on July 25th. This is a very good, accomplished heavyweight.
Yeah.
Now, on his resume, nothing tells us that he's an elite heavyweight, but he's never had to step up to that level. And they all, whenever they fight AJ Bunsey, they all, he's not the same fighter. Oh, he's coming to the end of his career. Oh, his chin's not great. Now he's coming off the accident. He's coming off the injuries.
Every time.
And they come 3 or 4 times harder than they would do if it was someone else.
Believing that they can win.
It's a threat. It's a danger. But AJ's talking up like he wants to go in there and do a demolition job on this guy. And there's a lot of frustration, there's a lot of anger, there's a lot of emotion that will come out on July 25th.
And with regards to the Fury fight, is that completely done? Because I know you're not particularly happy with Fury in theory having a warm-up.
I don't mind. Look, I think he had 12 rounds against Makhmudov, which was a good 12-round spank.
12 rounds,
Does he need another one? I mean, we had 4 rounds against Jake Paul in what is coming up to 2 years.
Yeah.
So we need one. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
But we can't control what Tyson Fury does. If he wants it, that's fine.
He's got to take
but
it.
What we've got to do is win on July 25th, and then we'll have to wait one more week now, by the sounds of things, to finally get it done and dusted.
One thing I want to ask you, when was the exact moment that he told you or you knew he was going to fight again? When was it, where were you? Can you remember?
The last thing that I wanted to do was to go and see him and say, what are you thinking? So you have to let
everything
him,
but that.
You have to let him say, what's the plan? I think after a while, after 2-3 times of going to see him, he was probably thinking, why is Eddie not saying, come on mate, give me some indication? And I left him, and it was like, I think we were in Dubai or something like that, and he just said to me, what are you thinking? What's the plan? I said, listen, I only want to talk about the plan when you're ready.
Yeah.
And he went, well, I think I'm ready to go back into training camp. And that was the moment, because I don't want to be the guy that, if he would have turned around to me and gone, I'm done.
Yeah.
I would have gone, I don't blame you.
Absolutely, yeah.
But when I see, this is the argument I have with Froch and people like that all the time.
You argue with Froch all the time anyway.
Because he doesn't see, the reason that Carl Froch retired, when I delivered him his ultimate dream, which was Julio Cesar Chavez in Las Vegas. This is after the George Groves.
Yeah.
It's because he didn't want it anymore.
Yeah.
Right? And I think what Froch did was admirable because so many fighters carry on when they don't want it anymore, right?
Yeah.
But I said to Froch, if you wanted it when I offered you the Chavez fight, you would have jumped all over it. Understand this, AJ wants it.
Yeah.
He don't want to retire. He doesn't feel like he's deteriorating. He loves it. Like, this is his life. You were ready to go. Don't, understand that not everyone is the same.
AJ can't wait to get in the ring.
But it's like, I feel like fighters sometimes go on too long. But you see the deterioration in the gym. You see the numbers start decreasing. You see all this kind of stuff. That's not Anthony. Yeah. What we're seeing is a better Anthony Joshua, a more focused Anthony Joshua, a fitter Anthony Joshua, a mentally stronger Anthony Joshua. So let him live out his dreams, which is actually not just to knock Tyson Fury out, but to become three-time world heavyweight champion.
So there's Eddie there showing quite clearly that this is not just about, he's not fighting for AJ, he's fighting for those two men, he's fighting for their families, he's fighting for their parents, he's fighting for their future as much as he's fighting for his future. They're a bit of an emotional day today.
Yeah.
I was trying to have a nice day post weekend.
It is. Look, boxing conjures up some incredible narratives, doesn't it, and stories. Some are so positive, and some are very sad, and some are almost unbelievable. And Anthony Joshua's story is kind of a mixture of all of those, I think. And now he's fighting, as you say, for others. But I think you'll agree, and everyone else here will. It's just great to have him back. I know it was 6 months ago, was it Jake Paul? But he's back, and there's just a real buzz, there's a real energy. And we say this all the time. Look, boxing has always stood the test of time. It's always been great. But there's been ups, there's been downs, and the downers really have been when some of the greats retire. When the likes of AJ and Fury and all of these guys retire, we're going to be on a bit
Fury
of a down.
and AJ, man, how crazy is that?
Everyone should be enjoying these final few fights of Anthony Joshua because they are so great.
It's just, the whole thing is so excessive. The whole thing is so big. The whole thing is so grand that we're just casually talking here about this fight which is taking place in Jeddah, not in Riyadh, with Christian Prenga. We've hardly mentioned Prenga. It's not about Prenga. It's about AJ's return to the spotlight. And then, of course, the fight, if he comes through that, is he ends up fighting Tyson Fury in November, either outdoors in the UK or overseas again. And we've already had a ridiculous year. We've already had a year that you couldn't imagine happening in the 80s or 90s. But AJ today, he looked comfortable. He looked relaxed. He looked like a man on a mission, Darren.
So you give Prenga no chance?
No. Listen, if I'm Prenga, if I'm in Prenga's camp, all I'm doing is saying to him, 60 seconds, 120 seconds, 180 seconds. Get out there as fast as you can. A bit like Pete McNeely did against Mike Tyson all those years ago. You got a minute to win this fight. Now you might lose it. You're expected to lose it, but get out there and throw every punch you can. And he did, and he caught Tyson on the temple. I would be running at AJ, throwing everything I've got at him. You're not going to win on point.
He's got a puncher's chance,
Bingo.
hasn't he?
Yeah,
and I think if Prenga does what Prenga says he's going to do, Anthony Joshua does what he's got to do, or says he's going to do, then Anthony Joshua needs to win this early, because that would mean he's having a war with Prenga, and you do not want to be having a war with
a big, heavy-handed.
You don't want to be doing that, especially when there's huge fight, a huge pot of gold looming in the not too distant future. It has to be a blowout. It needs to be a destruction, and I want to see that. I think everyone wants to see the old AJ destroying people, and although he's going to have a new sense
he swears he fancies returning to the old AJ.
I'm all for it, but I'll tell you what, I've got a lot of respect for the sacrifices he's made as well. Always looking for new knowledge, working with Team Usyk. He's not too proud that he'll go to a man that's beaten him twice. He'll go to him and he wants to learn. And I do expect a ferocious Anthony Joshua, and I'm hoping for a ferocious Prenga as well, which I think we will see, because you don't want to be having any regrets.
Prenga's got to go for it. Listen, we're not doing the Prenga preview now, because I've actually lined it up. I want to take you and Barry Jones and perhaps Jamie Ward, and we'll go on the walk around the F1 track. It'll be 120 degrees. We'll do the walk on the track, and that's where we'll do the pre-fight pod. Darren, it's been a pleasure and a delight talking.
Thank you, Steve. Always a pleasure.
To you. Anthony Joshua is back. July 25th, he fights for the first time since the crash in Lagos back in December, and since his fight a few days earlier against Jake Paul. He's fighting a man called Christian Prenga, who's originally from Albania. He's based now in America. He's lost one, but he's won 20, all of them by stoppage, including the last 3 in the first round. Okay, he hasn't fought guys that have fought for world titles, but as AJ said in the interview, you've still got to get the guys out of there. AJ is back. I'm Steve Bunce, and this has been 5 Live Boxing.